Hey everybody, I'm Rachelle Marie with DFW Real Producers, and this is DFW's Real Estate Best. We have some incredible guests on today. We have Lisa Peters, producing branch manager at Caliber Home Loans, and then we also have Courtney Toriak with Compass, a high producing agent here in the DFW area. Just some highlights that you can expect over the next hour or so are we're going to be talking about basics of success in the industry that are often overlooked, the importance of setting a number goal, and how to build a roadmap to reach that goal. A lot of top agents that I meet with, it's more that, I don't necessarily track those numbers. I just let it happen. But Courtney definitely has a different take, and you're going to want to listen into that. We're also going to be talking about the market right now and how to set a client apart in the market. And I know Lisa has some good thoughts for that. So if you want to hear their stories, how they started, get inspired, learn some incredible things from some of DFW's Real Estate Best here, I encourage you to tune in. Hey, as mentioned, I'm Rachelle Marie with DFW Real Producers, and this is DFW's Real Estate Best. As the name says, you are hearing from some of real estate's best here in DFW, business owners, high producing real estate agents. And as you might know, our podcast is open to everyone. The Real Producers community is exclusive to the top 500 agents in each of our territories here in DFW and RP vetted businesses, which are some of the most highly recommended and best businesses here in DFW, nominated by those highest producing agents here. We have an incredible community, but again, the podcast is open to anyone and everyone. I mean, we live stream on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So make sure to say hi from wherever you're watching today, but also give us a subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. I'm trying to remember all of the different channels. There are so many that Lendon, the creator of The Difference, which is who our podcast is powered through. I mean, Lendon, you have us going out on so many different channels out there. And just so that you guys know who are listening in, he provides digital branding solutions for small business owners, big business owners across the nation. And so if you need help getting your message out to your sphere and beyond, I encourage you to connect with Lendon. Here at Real Producers, we love Lendon. He's great. And we're so thankful that he's running our podcast and live stream for us. So thank you, Lendon. And at the end of the show, I'm going to just give you the opportunity to share a little bit more about what you do with The Difference. But I want to welcome on two incredible women that I mentioned in the beginning. Lisa Peters, producing branch manager with branch manager of Caliber Home Loans here in Dallas, and Courtney Toriak, a high producing agent with Compass. Welcome on, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'd ask how are you guys, but I know all of us here with the a little bit of technology struggle in the beginning there. Hopefully we're not too flustered right now.
Story of my life. What can I say?
That's what I'm saying. I guess in real estate, right? You have to, especially in real estate, and especially right now with all the curveballs and things happening, you have to be able to roll with the punches, so to speak. And
for sure. It's all good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you both on, and I'd love just to firstly share, how do you both know each other? I know that you guys have a little bit of a history here, maybe more of a little bit of a long one.
A long history, yes. Courtney, of course, is a realtor, and we met in the David Griffin office when she was starting her career in real estate. And what an impressive gal she is. I'm telling you, she is driven, and she has a plan. She works the plan, and it's amazing to watch her work. Yes, she's been a pleasure to work with through these years.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. It's definitely a sentiment I share with her, is about her work ethic and her ability to engage with not only those that are in the same industry, which it really takes a village and a network in this business,
Mhm.
and to be able to offer your clients the best level of service, you have to be aligned with other experts in the industry that you can go to and trust that they're going to be able to offer guidance that is going to be timely and going to, you want to surround yourself with the best of the best. And when I met Lisa, I knew that this was a powerhouse woman that I wanted to align myself with.
Right. And I tell you, Courtney, just bragging on you here a little bit, Lisa, before I even met you, because certainly what Courtney said is true. Like, you meet you, Lisa, and you can tell that you are just a woman of excellence and hard work and diligence, all those important qualities that you want in someone you're partnering with, and also a friend. And anyways, Courtney, I've heard that sentiment from you, but also before I even met with Lisa, she was nominated into the Real Producers community by some other high producing agents saying Lisa Peters is the best. She is the one I choose to work with. And so, Courtney, I know that sentiment is just definitely shared across the board, and we love having you a part of the community, Lisa.
Thank you. It's been a rewarding relationship with you all, and I had no idea, what I was getting myself into when I did, but I'm so glad that I did. It's been really rewarding.
Yeah, shout out to Christian Johnson, who kind of pulled you into this too. I had heard of Christian,
Right.
Of course, with Caliber from some top agents. And then, of course, I was hearing about you, Lisa, but it was Christian that initially brought you in there. And then I got to say, Lisa, I've heard of you. So anyways, awesome. But I know some of your stories there, but people that are listening in perhaps do not. And so I would love just to take a moment for people to get to know you, hear how you got into real estate. And so, Courtney, let's start with you. You grew up in Oklahoma, actually.
Yes, I did. So as some people like to joke, I probably came south to Dallas as fast as I could.
Not the first time I've heard that.
Grew up in Oklahoma, and I love Oklahoma. My father's still there, and a lot of my family and friends. And went to University of Oklahoma and graduated from there with a degree in journalism. But while I was in school, being raised by a single father, I had to pay for my own schooling. And so that definitely put a lot of pressure on, how do you, as a 19-year-old, go to school full time and pay for
Right.
it. And a lot of my background is in nonprofit work. And so I worked with Ronald McDonald House in Oklahoma City and Lyric Theater. And I did a lot of fundraising and public speaking and help in event planning and coordinating for them. And as much as I love the warm fuzzies, those didn't really pay the school tuition very well. So I decided to get into real estate, and I started selling new construction real estate throughout my junior and senior years in college. And it was amazing. I was able to go to school full time, worked 7 days a week, and in six figures as a 19, 20-year-old. And
Amazing.
So I knew that the power of real estate and what it could bring you as a quality of life, if you were able to stay diligent and really make sure that you were focused on it day in and day out. And so that really began my love career and love relationship with real estate.
Yeah, and just pausing for a moment. I mean, just trying to wrap my head around that. Full-time school, full-time real estate agent. Goodness, that speaks volume of your work ethic and who you are, because I'm sure people listening in are like, what?
Yeah, I was very lucky that I was raised by that dad that told you, at age 14, oh, you want that? How are you going to get it? So it was, being brought up with that mentality of, if you wanted something, you put together a plan and you found a way to execute on that plan to be able to get what you wanted. So that definitely instilled the ability and the self-confidence in myself to say, okay, well, this is what I want to go do. No dream is too big. I'll have to find a way and make it happen.
Right. And, perhaps this is a good time to pause, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the show there, I'm meeting with top producing agents weekly. And, you know, nothing wrong with this, but a lot of top agents that I meet with, when I say, hey, what are your goals this year? A lot of them say they don't put a number to it. You know, I don't keep track of the numbers, and we'll just see, you know, I want to do as good as I did last year, but there's no specific number goal there. And, you know, I hear both, but I hear that one more often than you think, which again, nothing wrong with that. But when I spoke with you, Courtney, you said, I have a number and I break it down. I create that roadmap to be able to reach that number goal. And I know for those of us, you know, thinking of breaking down that number, especially a big number there as a high producing agent, how do you create that roadmap? I'd love to take a moment here to talk about that, because I think that could be a key for many who want to reach a higher level, take it to the next level this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Lisa can definitely probably talk about this as well, because we both are commission based, and, you know, if we don't, you know, we eat what we kill. So it's like, we've got to constantly be on the ball.
So to
And
speak.
yes. And so, you know, we're trying to, you know, better ourselves every day, and, you know, also build our client base, while also making sure that we take care of those clients that were there for us from the beginning. So when it comes to goals, you know, I had a really fun conversation with one of my close girlfriends at the beginning of last year, and we were talking about what our goals were for the year. And she's a business owner as well. She's a mother. So we have a lot of the same challenges with time and just figuring
Right.
out how to fit it all in the daily schedule. And she said something to me that really stuck. And she said, you know, Courtney, these are big, ambitious, great goals. It's what you're telling me is you're probably a little overwhelmed. And I said, oh, I'm glad you can hear that in my voice. I thought I was doing it up. And she said, you know, break it down to the micro task. So take the macro, break it down to the micro. And so you do the daily ingestion of what it is that you need to accomplish and how you want to get there. So I think it's interesting, you know, in real estate, we're always given at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year before, a business plan. Okay, fill out your business plan, think about what your goals are for the following year, where you want to be, what that number is going to look like, how many transactions, so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But what gets lost for a lot of people, including myself, I'm guilty of this as well, is you get stuck in the day-to-day activities, such as
Guilty.
trying to take care of that one fire that just happened at 7:30 in the
Right.
morning. Takes up your entire day and throws you off. But when you break it down to the micro, and you know, okay, I'm not even thinking about my number at the end of the year. What I'm thinking about this morning is I know that I need to reach out to 3 of my previous clients in my sphere to check in on them, see how they're doing, connect, check in with people that have moved out of state, just to say, hi, how are you? It's not a hard sell. I'm not selling anything. It's just having that human connection. So that helps generate future leads and referrals. So again, the number is important, but really knowing what you need to do daily and weekly, and making
Right.
sure that those become habitual. Those are just as habitual as getting on your Peloton or picking up your child from school at 3:00. You know, that's a part of the daily routine. And once you do that, it's easy. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. You just automatically go do it.
Right. And yeah, you have to be intentional with relationship like that. As much as we want to think like, no, relationship, it'll just happen. No, you have to be intentional, and relationship takes work. And so I love even just hearing that, how you're intentional in those relationships. And that's a part of reaching your goal, intentionality and working at those relationships. But I'd love to ask, do you use a calendar? Is there a whiteboard? What do you use to track to make sure that you're hitting those goals monthly to reach that big end of the year goal? Because I could definitely use some tips over here, Courtney, and I'm sure there are others listening in too. And Lisa, feel free to chime in at any time.
Well, what I think technology is important, but I'm, from a different generation. So I still like to handwrite things, but I do try to keep everything in my notes. So on my computer, I use notes like nobody's business. If someone tells me a movie that I should watch, I have a list in notes of things I
Love
need to
it.
watch. So that way, when it's Friday night, I'm like, gosh, I want to rent a movie. I've heard of 10 different movies in the last 3 months, but I can't think of it. I go to my notes.
Right.
If it's somebody said a quote that I really loved or just resonated with me, I put it in quotes, and I can easily search within my notes system, and everything's on the cloud. So no matter what device I'm on, I can access it. So even when I'm meeting with clients and we're doing a make ready list on their home, before we list, it's like we're going room by room on the things that need to be done. I put it in notes, and I can easily share those with the handyman, with any of the contractors. I can share it with the client, and that way everyone can work off of the same list. So that is my one piece of technology that I will say I use every day, and it helps me stay somewhat organized. And you can create checklists in there, so I can mark things off. So there's something super satisfying about marking things off your list. And
I'm with you on that.
like my son and I love to play Legos, and we love to connect Legos and take them apart. And we always say, gosh, that's just so satisfying. And there's something about the tangible that,
Right.
just adds this weird level of joy and satisfaction. And so for me, checking things off the list, that gives me that same sense of joy.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. I am a pen and paper gal too. Like there is something satisfying. It's true. I don't know what it is, but marking it off. And I actually, this must be just like a funny quirk or something, but when I'm working on something, I like to check it off before I cross it off. Like I'm doing this now, and I cross it off before I finish it. But as I'm starting it, it just gives some sort of motivation there. But Lisa, anything you want to add quickly before we shift gears here about how you, track or your goals and what sort of tools or things you use?
Oh gosh, that's a long subject and 25 years in the making in the industry. But to bring it just to current times, I have a team. So my team and I meet every morning at 9 a.m. and we have a 1-hour conference call together on Teams, and we go over our pipeline. We go over who needs to do what, when, and where. And then at the end of the day, they send feedback to me, what all they got accomplished.
Wow.
And so that keeps us on track with daily tasks that we need to do. My job really is to bring in the business in sales. I'm in sales. I need to bring in the business. And so, of course, I have my list. Who do I need to contact today? I believe in the threes. I believe you need to contact 3 people. I believe you need to write 3 letters or 3 notes to past customers, to realtors, to whoever that might be. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It just needs to get done. And keep in touch. I don't think there's anything ever that will replace face-to-face.
Mm-hmm.
Face-to-face meetings is always the most empowering that I think you can have. So, you can do all of the internet stuff you want, and we have a lot of technology at our disposal, a ton of technology. But the real value is getting face-to-face with those that you love, you do business with, your past clients, and that builds relationships. And so, over the 25 years, you get to do 5, 7, however many transactions for these people. And you don't get to do that if you haven't stayed in touch.
Yeah, huge. I love how you mentioned, just the word that comes to mind with your daily meetings with your team, start of the day, them reporting in at the end of the day. That's accountability right there, which I think our world needs a lot more of. And I just thinking about incorporating that, how much more productive would people do if there's that accountability there? But also with that, you have your sense of team, everyone is cheering you on. And I think that is so key and huge. And just even thinking how you operate and run your team, which I want to go more into during our time here, a lot of people can learn from. I mean, you not only are the branch manager of Caliber Home Loans here in Dallas, but you're a producing branch manager. And so, yes, you are keeping your team accountable, which I think speaks volumes to top agents like Courtney working with you, and just how you run your team, that nothing is left by the wayside, so to speak. The I's are being crossed or dotted, and the T's are being crossed, if I can get this correct here. That's huge. But let's step back for a moment. And how did you get into real estate, Lisa? I know you didn't start off being a branch manager there of Caliber.
Right.
Come on here.
Well, my career, I worked for a credit union way back when for 7 years, and I just got the itch to do something different, and so I got my real estate license, and I sold real estate for about 10 years.
Wow.
And we had some boom and bust back then, so and I went into management because I was single back then, so I really needed to get something that was a little more regular pay. So yeah, because it was a big bust back then. But when you get out of commission sales, there's a part of you that always wants to go back to commission sales. And though, a regular salary is great, I was in management, and, there was something missing. And the company that I worked for, I was managing a sales office in Las Colinas, and it was a boutique high-end sales office. And the company sold. And at that point, that was my time to make a move. I just knew it was time. And the general manager of the firm said, well, I'm going to get into into mortgage, and I'd love it if you came with me. And and just on a whim, I said, okay, but I don't know anything. I mean, I know a little bit about mortgage, but he said, don't worry. We'll train you. You don't worry. And at that point I said, okay, just that easy. And 25 years later, that was the best decision I ever made.
Wow. And I'm sure Courtney is saying that too. Especially you were saying, Courtney, to me that Lisa is one of those dynamite people. I wrote it down because I want to talk about that. You said that you want to keep in your circle as long as you can. And I'd love to put you on the spot here, Courtney, and say, like, why is that? Why is Lisa one of those dynamite people? Obviously, you guys are friends. You've known each other for some years now, but also business-wise, it's so key who you partner as the highest producing agent, that lender you partner with. I mean, talk about the huge part of the transaction there. And so, yeah, why is that?
Gosh, okay. How long is the show? Because I have.
No.
But it's in this business as a realtor, you do feel like you're on an island so much of the time, and you feel like it's just you out there trying to make clients happy and get everyone to the closing table and making sure that everyone's goals are being met. But it really does take alignment with people in your industry that are experts in their own fields. We can't be all things to all people, but I can guarantee my clients, I know the experts in whatever, field it is that we need access to, whether it's appraiser or lenders, title company, etc. So Lisa has just always been that person that if I call her Sunday night at 7:00, she's not going to want me to endorse that, by the way. But if I do, she picks up and she will say, what can I do for you? And that is paramount. I mean, to align yourself with other people that are as responsive as you are, and take
Right.
pride in being, approachable, and also, they don't, this real estate's it's not 9 to 5. It is a 24/7
Right.
business. It's constantly evolving. The market is consistently shifting. So you want to be with people that understand that time is everything, and also understand that when we, introduce each other to our clients, that, hey, I'm endorsing you. Like, you're already getting this golden review, and we both take pride in living up to that expectation that's been set. And that has a lot to do with integrity,
Right.
honesty. We are not yes women. We are honest women, and we
That's good.
are right. But we're not going to just, tell you, the sky is, that everything's great, everything's dandy, you have nothing to worry about, because that's not life. We understand there are hiccups and nuances to every transaction that may come up, but we're a team. We're here to see it through, and we're here to make sure that whatever your goal is, that we're going to keep that paramount and top of mind. It's not our goals that are important, it's your goals. And so Lisa is that person that just is always there for you, always there for the client. And she's got 25 years of experience and knowledge. So
Yes.
all those questions regarding mortgages and things that are not part of my skill set, she's my go-to woman that I can go to and say, you know what, I may not know the answer to that, but I have an expert who does.
Right. And I love too, Lisa, just hearing the background that you had being an agent, before. And I think as well, that gives you just what is the word? But like, it just increases what you can give to that relationship with
Right.
a high producing agent. You understand.
Right. And
Um,
what I do know is for certain, they don't just go open the door and they go, "Oh, I'll take this one." And you go, "Okay, well, let's go write that up." That is
right.
not the life of a realtor
Yeah.
at all. They work hard. It's hard work. It's negotiating skills. I mean, you have to put everything on the table when
Yeah.
you're a realtor. Kind of the same thing with mortgage banking, it's hard work, but that's
Right.
why they call it work.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got to always be on your toes and uh, keep up to speed with whatever's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, every day I learn something new.
Mm.
Every day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely a key in the business to
it
continue to
is.
have that growth mindset. And speaking of the time in the market right now, Lisa, I know both of you, Courtney and Lisa, have been navigating different things during this time. And Lisa, you said, speaking of learning new things every day, you said that there are some ways that you have learned during this market to set a client apart. Share about that.
Well, I mean, it's challenging for buyers, and I don't care if you're a first time buyer, a move up buyer, $1 million, million and a half, $2 million buyer. There is competition on every level in this market, and especially first time buyers that don't have a lot of money in savings, and they're just trying to get in the game because you can't play the game if you're not in the game.
Hmm.
So what we've been doing, our team has been, once they do an online application with us, we get all of their documentation and we send them in for underwriting. And that has proven to be as good as a cash offer
Hmm.
because we've already accepted their credit, their income, and their assets. We need a contract, a survey, and possibly an appraisal. Sometimes yes, sometimes no on the appraisal part, but and we can act quickly. So where cash buyers are able to come in and close in 2 weeks, they could close in a week if they wanted to. Generally, they don't. They could close in 2 weeks. So can we.
Hmm.
So can we. It puts them on a more level playing
Right.
field. And since we've been doing this, the other thing I do, I tell, we get them approved for the maximum amount that they can qualify for. And whether they're spending that amount or not, we give them a letter for that amount. They go out in the market, they're making an offer on something that's not quite all, their max. And so that tells a story to the listing agent that, okay, they're already approved for higher. But I take it one step further.
Mm-hmm.
Once they have submitted their offer, and this is my theory, they should wait to submit their offer
Okay.
close to the deadline. And once they have submitted their offer, then I make a call to the listing agent and I go over the level of approval. It's not just a pre-approval letter, it's an approval letter. And I tell them exactly, we've accepted their credit, their assets, their income, they're ready to go. Let's make this happen. And that's been very successful for people lately. I've just last week had 2 contracts accepted because of that.
Awesome.
And since, I've always wanted to call, when I have the heads up, I always call listing agents. And recently, this tells you where the market is. An agent had 56 offers on his listing, and we had a conversation. We talked for about 30 minutes. So I just wanted him to know what I know about this borrower,
Right.
that they were already pre-approved. And he said, out of all of these offers I have on my desk, you're the only lender that has called me. And he chose them to work with. Because of that, he said, it just gave me a comfort level that they can make this happen, and we made
Right.
it happen. Yeah.
Right.
And can I
So,
piggyback on that?
Yes.
So Lisa, I want to attest to that because we had a deal about 2 weeks ago that there were 18 offers, and I called Lisa Sunday at 5:00 and was like, we've got to get this offer in an hour and a half. Can you help me? And she called the listing agent the next morning, and 18 offers, and we got it.
Wow.
And it was that phone call and the whole
Yeah.
team effort. And so, yeah, Lisa that's just one of the many, many reasons, but you can see her in action, and she'll do everything in her power to make sure that the deal gets done.
Right. And Courtney, I know the same can be said of you, doing everything in your action to get the deal done. And I'd love to talk about that right now with this market. What are some ways that you are setting your clients apart, or even just setting them up for success? That comes to mind, especially in terms of how you speak about the market today, which I know is different from a lot of agents that I speak with. You told me you speak different regarding the market, and you're careful about what you speak into the market. Please share about that. I think it's it's a refreshing perspective, if I can put it that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Most markets are challenging for somebody or a certain demographic. I mean, it's very rare when we have a perfectly copacetic market where buyers and sellers alike are just having the best time ever and everyone's getting what they want, right? Like that not probably exist. So in every market, there's going to be those challenges, those nuances that we navigate through, and there's money to be made in every market. There are opportunities to be had in every market. And we know this because we know history, and we know what was, we were all surprised what did well during COVID, in 2020. And but there were those winners and that were able to come through. So the same thing is in the real estate market. There's opportunities on both sides. Is just reframing what your expectation is, and maybe a little fluid, and understanding that maybe what I thought I was going to get last year maybe will be a little bit different this year, but what am I able to capitalize on? What are the positives that I can focus on? And it's, I always think that it's super important I watch CNBC every morning while I have my coffee and I'm checking my first emails. I don't really play the stock market. I don't know how it works. I'm still baffled by it, just like I don't know how internet works. But I do understand the importance of knowing what is the media telling my clients, because whatever they're hearing, I need to be prepared to respond to it. And I also
Right.
need to be prepared on, being able to talk to it. And so there's a level of preparedness that you need to have. But then on the other
Right.
side, I don't believe in the posting of, 25 offers on this house, or, $50,000 over asking price, or, house sat on the market for 120 days. And, those, it's very specific to those homes. And so there are homes that currently are on the market for longer than 2-3 weeks that buyers have an opportunity to not be in multiple offer situations on. And so I think it's important to not perpetuate kind of the sky is falling verbiage that tends to happen in multiple different types of markets. But it's more important to say, okay, this is the current market where we're at.
Right.
Here's how we can navigate through it to get what you want. And
Right.
that, I important, because I think we can't control the marketplace, but we can control how we deal with it, and
Right.
how we can shift your mindset to be prepared for it.
I love that. I think that is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's so important when you're looking, especially in the market we're at right now, to have an agent that you're working with that is level-headed. And certainly hear that from you, Courtney. You're, no matter what the weather is, so to speak, out there in real estate, you are navigating that ship calmly, level-headed. And because there are, again, being a part of this industry with real producers, you hear a lot of people giving into the scare and, oh my goodness, and this and that, and it's so difficult. But it was seriously talking with you before today, like a breath of fresh air, just hearing this calm, confident, looking at the glass, half full versus half empty. And I certainly hear that from you, Courtney, and I know Lisa does too. What are some of those positive things that you are reassuring your clients with?
Well, first and foremost, I think interest rates, right? I think right now, for everybody, you're able to take advantage of still historic low interest rates. When I bought my first house when I was in college, I got 7.5%. And I thought that was amazing because I had heard of people getting 13% years before. And it's all perspective. It's all subjective to
Right.
what you experienced and what you know. But I think that's, people have to be reminded sometimes, like, hey, if interest rates have gone up 1/4% in the last, 6 months, that's okay. Let's think about where they could potentially head to, and
Right.
break out the calculator. And once you kind of break out the calculator and put things in numbers, which is why Lisa is so good, because I'll call her and I'll say, hey, interest rates went up 0.15%. So on this one particular loan, help me calculate when they're going to break even if they, for locking in early. And she and I will work the math. And that way you can really give somebody the full picture and that bird's eye perspective. And so that's really important. So yeah, I think rates, still are phenomenal, and we're going to be able to still enjoy those for really probably another year or two. As they even start to trick up, they're still going to be below 7%. And, that's just, again, amazing buying power to the buyers out there. And to the sellers, that helps your house sell, that helps a larger buyer demographic for your home, because more people can afford it because the rates are low.
I love what you've said before. You said there's an upside to every market. There's an opportunities. Sometimes you just have to look for them. What are you seeing business-wise with Fortune 500 companies moving here to the DFW area, Courtney?
I mean, we are just as blessed can be. I mean, really, it is phenomenal to see what is going on in our marketplace in DFW. We've got, so many incredible things going on. I mean, first of all, if you're a foodie like me, you love to eat your way through any city.
Yes.
And we've got restaurants. We have more restaurants opening every single month. I mean, it's just, you can't even keep up. And DFW has a really strong arts culture and
Mhm.
diversity. So, I mean, those are two dynamic things that a really beautiful, wonderful city is going to embrace and be able to offer, their citizens. And so that's one reason why we've got all of these great Fortune 1000 companies coming over here. And what that means is it means continued growth for us.
Yeah.
Whether you're in Frisco, Prosper, you're in Dallas, Highland Park, it doesn't matter. You are going to reap the benefits of that movement coming here. But then global economy, I mean, a strong global economy means that when our national economy is suffering, it usually starts on the coast. So East and West Coast will feel it before anybody else. And we've been so fortunate to kind of be insulated a little bit from a lot of that kind of, those big swings. And so having steady appreciation, steady growth, and we don't really see it stopping anytime in the very near future. It really sets us up to all be able to enjoy a beautiful place to live with continued appreciation and housing affordability, which that's always a topic of discussion, especially as our market
Right.
has seen what it's had over the last couple of years, but we still have housing affordability compared to most major cities.
Right. As you're talking about the food there, I'm like, I need to make a list, like how you're saying with the movies. I need to start having a list there of what restaurants and places I'm recommended to go to eat, because yes, I don't know anybody actually who's in real estate, I don't think, who is not a foodie.
Right.
But ask about hobbies, that is definitely, it's travel. I love food. Yeah. Lisa, I want to go back, just talking about Caliber. And man, you love the city we live in. And one of the key things for you with Caliber that you believe sets you apart and just you love about it is yes, the corporate office is here in the area, but you love that the leadership and your team is local.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of that and why that is so meaningful to you.
Back in 2013, when we were looking for a new mortgage home, I had been with my previous company for 13 years, and they sold. It was not going to work out, and so we were on the mission to find a new company, and we interviewed 42 companies between three of us. And some of them were just on the phone, but some of them were face to face. And we chose Caliber. And we chose Caliber because the corporate office is 15 minutes from here. It's in Coppell. So if I need to talk to someone there, I can hop in the car, be there in 15 minutes, and they will have me there. They will welcome me into the corporate office. So that was important. Two, we service our loans. That was kind of paramount for me, that whoever I'm making loans to, we're going to service their loans. That's who they make their payments to. And if they have a problem, I'm always available. They can call me anytime and I can help them through whatever they need. A lot of times it's that first year's escrow, when taxes go up and they want someone to help them figure that out. Just explain it to me. So, customers for life, and Caliber gave me that opportunity to keep those customers for life, not farming them out somewhere else that's going to, promote themselves to our customers. Regionally, the North Texas region has its own underwriting staff. We have our own closing department. We have our own processors. And let me tell you, that is huge. We don't have people from South Carolina processing our files. And why is that important? That is important because Texas has some really unique laws on the books. And if you're not familiar with Texas and Texas real estate, it's going to be a struggle. And so that's important, that everything is local. Our appraisers are all local. We have a department within Caliber that manages our appraisal assignments. And that's a law that I can't call an appraiser. I can't even really know who the appraiser is that's been assigned. We have a department that takes care of that. But what I do get to control is who is on my appraiser list. And I have 9 appraisers on my list. So when an assignment comes through, they know it goes to one of 9. And they've all been working with me anywhere from 15 to 25 years.
Right. And you're not quick to add an appraiser. You know, you are very selective.
One appraiser that's been with me my whole career.
Amazing.
And that is huge. Local is huge to people. It's huge to listing agents. They promote it. They go, you know, you're going through whatever internet company. No. That's probably not going to win this bid for you. So local is important. They want to know who are the appraisers coming out to my property.
Wow.
And some companies, it's a third-party management company. They have 300-400 appraisers that when they put an assignment out there, one of them grabs it. They can be from Weatherford, Texas. And we all know we have niche neighborhoods in the Metroplex. And if you're not familiar with one street over the next, that can be a value difference, then you're going to have issues.
Right.
So that's why that's important.
Yeah, local is huge. It really is. Speaking to a lot of people in the industry, especially high producing agents, I can't tell you how many times when they've been giving perhaps some nominations for some businesses that they feel should be a part of the Real Producers community. One thing I hear when I'm like, hey, why? You know, why do you nominate that business? Sometimes just local. And just the importance of that. And I love how you've broken that down. We do not have a lot of time left here. I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, oh no, we need more time. There's so much to talk about. So I want to do a speed round of questions here with you both, because there's some things I want to hear from you. And I'm sure those listening in, and some of these questions I'll say too, for those of you that are part of the Real Producers community, we have a closed Facebook group. And in it, you know, fellow top agents are asking questions. We're putting questions and thoughts out there. So I'm going to pull some of those questions from there. But please, if you are a part of the Real Producers community, engage, join that group if you're not a part of, and get in on the chatter. One of the questions that I think we're actually throwing out today, this afternoon, just kind of a more fun one, but what is one thing you love about being in real estate besides helping people? I know everyone who's in, you know, especially the best, you know, they have the right motivator. They want to help people, which I know is both of your hearts, but what is one thing besides that you love? And we're going to do speed round here. So Courtney or Lisa, whoever wants to go first.
I'm happy to go first. I mean, I love some good eye candy, and beautiful architecture is my eye candy. So no matter where I'm traveling, I always stop and I'll go for what I like to call architectural jogs. So I'll go for a jog if I'm in LA, or if I'm in, you know, and I love just going and just looking at pretty houses. I mean, it's fun, and I enjoy it. I love going and looking at different designs. I'm a historic home specialist. I'm a huge lover of mid-century modern, and I also sell a ton of new construction modern homes as well. And I love it all. I mean, I think there's just so much beautiful architecture and designs in every city, and all different, you know, varieties. And, you know, I don't discriminate. I just love it all. So that is, I just love seeing great design and well orchestrated and thoughtful construction. So that's
And what a fun way for, many people are like, I don't have time to fit in exercise. There you go, people. You've heard it from Courtney. Go for an architectural jog. You can also count that as work there too. So I love it, Courtney. What about you, Lisa?
Well, interesting. So, one of my goals when I got into this business was to get one more person in the game. One more person in the game. And the more people that I can get in the game, the happier they're going to be, the more successful they're going to be. They're building equity, they're building wealth. And, that's a passion. And yes, I love the business because I love to help people, but I really want to see people build wealth and flourish in their lives. And that's my foundation. That drives me every single day.
Love it. Love it. And we're getting a comment there from Marcos. Thanks for watching, Marcos. He's saying, great chat, ladies. Lots of valuable info. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And that's where I wish we had more time. Second question, speed around here. Recently, we did a post in the closed group. A shout out to Randy White, who's a top agent there in North Fort Worth. He is a reader. Are any of you readers? What are you reading this year? Do you have a list for that, Courtney? A list of books to read?
Well, I am that person. You've got to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So my weakness is that I love to start a book and I never finish it. So I have been reading let me see. Oh my God, I totally forgot the name of it. The China study for probably a year and a half. So I subscribe to Audible. My Audible book right now is Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, which is phenomenal. If anybody loves him, you will think his story is incredible. And then I'm a huge podcast junkie. So of course we have this podcast and anything Lyndon does, but there's great real estate podcast. There's, Women Rocking Real Estate. There's, the Carbone Effect. There's lots of just really good. And of course, if you want to get your Dateline podcast in there, you can too. So I think that's my avenue that I tend to stick with because I can zone out in the car and get some good book time in.
And I should expand that question. You're exactly right, because a lot of agents and people in real estate are readers, but they're a reader through Audible, in the car while traveling from appointment to appointment. What about you, Lisa? Anything on the list to read this year or a podcast?
You know what I read? I read articles on mortgage business, and that's what I read in my spare time, which I have so very little of.
Right.
And no, I used to be an avid reader, and I want to get back to that someday. But at this time, I read industry
That's important.
articles. And, if I'm on a long trip, I'll listen to a podcast. And I think those are very interesting. So, but yeah, no, I'm not a reader. Wish I
well,
was.
I beg to differ. You reading those industry articles and such, that is important. And I'm sure important to Courtney and other high producing agents to hear that you are staying in the know. And like you said earlier, the importance of continually learning. So I love that. Lastly, before I invite Lyndon on here, I actually got two questions. Quickly, in a sentence or two, again, speed round of questions here. What I do want to hear now, what is your motivation? What keeps you motivated every single day?
Yeah. Lisa, you want to go first?
What keeps me motivated every single day is helping that one more client.
That's good.
Build wealth, get in the game, because it's a phenomenal time to get in the game. Mm-hmm. If you can't get in the game, you're never going to win. That's my motivation.
Courtney, what about you?
Well, I would say it's two things. One, my 7-year-old is a great motivator. He's a thriving, growing, and he's basically a linebacker already. So I really need to put food on the table for him. And then secondly, I think every day I'm kind of chasing the better version of myself. And I go to bed at night thinking, okay, what did I learn today? What could I have done differently? What could I have done better? And then the next morning I want to okay, this is what I'm going to do today and how I'm going to tackle it. And I think that's, it's
Love
kind
it.
of a fun game that I play with myself, but it's how can I be a little bit better of a Courtney today?
I love it. That is so good. So good, both of you. And then lastly, I'm sure there's people listening here that want to get in touch. Quickly, how do they get in touch with you? We'll start with you, Lisa, and then you, Courtney.
Okay. My only business line is my cell phone, 214-763-7931. 214-763-7931, or email if that's an avenue, lisa.peters@caliberhomeloans.com.
Awesome. And she actually picks up her phone, ladies and gentlemen, like Courtney said there, and Lisa told me I actually return people's phone calls and pick it up when I can. I love it. It's important again, a basic to success that I think some people could use some inspiration from you, Lisa, there. Courtney, what about you? How do people keep in touch?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Courtney Toriak, and my phone number 214-384-9338. You can also find my contact information on the compass.com agent page for Dallas or Plano. I'm on both, and my email is courtneytoriak@compass.com. So please reach out, and even if it's just to ask a question, or if you're another agent and there's something we can, I can help with anytime, I'm absolutely always open to engaging and connecting. So thank you for the time today, Rachelle.
Yeah, awesome, ladies. It was so great just getting to know you both more and just chatting away during this hour. So thank you. And for those of you watching, we'll be back here next Wednesday, 11 a.m. London, I'm going to have you come on now, share a little bit about the difference, and close us out.
All right. Well, great show, ladies. Courtney, Lisa, nice to meet you. And one of the, I'm big into cliches. I think that, people kind of find them cheesy, but I think that there's meaning in every one of them. I think that someone was thoughtful when they were created. I think sometimes they're overused. The one that this show reminded me of, though, is that the one that says, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think both of you ladies exemplify that in this show. That's what I took away. I hope our audience does the same thing. Just real quick about the difference. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. I've gone up and down, and I've rode the roller coaster like no one else. One of the hardest things for businesses is businesses don't struggle or fail. Or the reason most businesses struggle or fail is not because of a bad product or service, but because not enough people knew who they were and what they were doing. And so I wanted to create a platform so we could bring visibility and help fight obscurity for small businesses, and utilizing social media. Lisa, I agree with you 100%. I'm a face-to-face guy. I like to shake people's hands. I'm old school there, but I love to integrate technology with that to expand the audience. And so that's what we try to do with The Difference. Last year, we had over 950,000 people that watched our shows in our small businesses. When you go to a happy hour, when you go to a networking event, it's hard to reach 4,000 or 5,000 people and let them hear your message. And we're really proud of what we're doing, but it's because of people like Rachelle, like Jordan, like Lance, all the different shows that we have, and the people, and incredible guests that they bring on. So I want to thank you all for being a part of The Difference today. And I encourage everybody out there that watch this to get in touch with you. And having said that, we'll be back on again next week. So
awesome. Thanks, Lyndon.
All right. Thank you. See y'all later.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. And thank you so much